Right across the screen here on this Friday afternoon, right across the screen on a weekly basis as well, Carol Massar, the volume is light.
Yeah, and I feel like, absolutely. We're heading into a long holiday weekend, the official, I guess, start to the summer, you might say. So no surprise to see light volume. I think it's interesting, just kind of the headlines, though, the flurry of headlines. No, I thought it's supposed to be nice.
No. It rained earlier, so it's not going to rain.
I saw my weather app. It said Saturday and Sunday is going to be nice.
I heard that, too.
Not nice enough for the beach, but not raining. How's that sound?
Do we have like a weather person here? We need like a Bloomberg
News, like
we do.
Own,
like
it's not going to rain. That's the weather report.
We have weather people. We have weather people.
All right.
We have weather people.
Yeah,
we are
do.
in a fishbowl.
Correction.
Anyway, it's kind of interesting. I feel like the Salesforce news, Informatica off and running, and then more news out of the White House, maybe about U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. So, God, it's not quiet, guys.
It's really quiet because it's the Friday before a long weekend, and we know that people don't want to be too long or too short heading into any weekend these days because who knows what the president might say or tweet or post on social media. But maybe people got all their positions cleared on Wednesday when the 20-year bond auction didn't do well, and we saw stocks and bonds tumble. The S&P 500 losing 1.6% that day, and the next day, nothing much really happened.
I just want to point out my app on my iPhone here, Carol, says it's a high of 62. That's nice.
But does it show rain? She said the rain.
But no rain.
Where was that? Where was your iPhone made?
I don't know. How much is this app going to cost me?
Where was your phone made?
I'm going to hold on to this phone for like the next 20 years.
Oh my
All right, we get the closing bells in New York. Let's walk you through them here. Right across the screen, fractional losses across the board. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 250 points, or 0.6%. The S&P dropping about 0.7%. It is going to hold, though, right at that 5,800 level, 5,802.83, though it takes a while for these numbers to settle. The NASDAQ Composite lower by about 189 points, or 1% even. And the Russell 2000, that's actually a relative outperformer on the day, only lower by 0.3%.
All right, quick check on the S&P 500, guys. Most names in the index to the downside. We've got 329 names losing ground on this Friday. 172 Scarlet to the upside.
All right, let's take a look at our IMAP. 11 sectors in the S&P 500. 4 managed to finish higher. Unfortunately, they're all the smaller indexes, so that's why there's a lot of red on that screen. Infotech, communication services, and consumer discretionary. Those are the 3 sectors that the Mag 7 are distributed throughout, and they're down by at least 0.9%. Your better performing sectors, utilities. I heard Alex give them a shout out earlier. What does it say when utilities are the best performing sector on a day like today? A lot of movement to the defensive sectors.
No, I'm sorry. President Trump has signed executive orders on nuclear.
That too. 31 members of the S&P 500 utilities index are higher.
You can hear my snoring? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, but there was some fundamental news here. Okay, whatever.
There was fundamental news. I mean, I got to tell you, I was changing my gainers to the last minute. Just ask our producer Meredith, because I was like, wait,
gainers.
Can I do this? Can I do this? All right, Constellation Energy. Speaking of stuff out of the White House, you did see nuclear power stocks, thank you guys, soaring. We did see President Trump signing that executive order. So there was expectation, speculation earlier in the day. So a name like Constellation Energy, one of your top performers in the NASDAQ 100.
That's the one you chose?
Seriously?
Sorry.
Okay. You don't know what? You want to know why? All right. It's up 2% in today's session. Listen to this. Our Bloomberg intelligence team, here's why I chose that one, noted that Constellation Energy is among the biggest beneficiaries of data center power demand and the Inflation Reduction Act, as it controls more than 20% of U.S. nuclear capacity. Over 85% of its annual generation is supported by nuclear production tax credits. That's why, Romaine.
Take that.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Okay. So from nuclear to solar we go. First, solar, guys, up about 1.3% in today's session. Again, we saw them selling off yesterday. Concerns about the bill, the spending tax bill, would roll back clean energy initiatives and support. Well, some coming out today noting that maybe the House bill, some of those clean energy cuts may not actually fly. So, yeah, that going on. Jefferies also raised its price target in First Solar to 157 from 127. First Solar closing above at 158 and change, but again, up 1.3%. 2 quick ads I did late in the day. You had Informatica rising in a big way, up 17% by the close, up as much as 28%. That's after that headline crossed on the Bloomberg. Salesforce said to be in talks to buy Informatica, so that's out there.
Well, that's buy them again, though, right? Remember they tried to do this about a year ago, and then they kind of walked, I think it was Informatica maybe walked away, or I'm not quite sure what happened there. Kind of interesting to see that back on the table.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Good ad, Romaine, there. Nice. Thank you so much for that.
I love when you patronize me.
I love to patronize you. And then you'll say President Trump backing what's said to be a partnership, although we don't know exactly what this means, of U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. And so you have U.S. Steel up about 21%. What?
No. President Trump might have different ideas when he says
Scarlett, can you
partnerships.
stop interrupting Carol, please?
Oh, I value that. Come on.
Scarlett can interrupt me anytime. Just saying. Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, okay. Let's look at shares of Apple.
there.
They fell today by 3%. It's actually down for an 8th day in a row. Fell as much as 4% earlier in the session, but managed to close off its lows. The president pressuring Apple to manufacture its iPhones in the U.S. It threatens a tariff of 25% if they don't comply. The supply chain for iPhones are concentrated in China. Moving production to the U.S. would be a very difficult thing to do. Our own Mark Gurman has reported on this extensively. My favorite anecdote that he shared via his reporting was that it would basically be like taking the entire city of Boston and having them stop what they're doing to manufacture iPhones, everybody in the city. That's what the scale is like in different parts of China where they manufacture these products. Down 3% on the day today. Booz Allen Hamilton really fell in today's session. Earlier fell as much as 19.4%, closed down 16.5%. That was the worst close going back to 2017, or worst single day, I should say, going back to 2017. At one point, fell the most ever on record. The company said it's going to cut about 7% of its close to 36,000 person workforce.
Yeah.
This is wild. I didn't know this. They get almost all of their revenue from the U.S. government.
Yeah, I've been following this
Almost
company for a
all of
long
it.
time. And it's just, I mean, that's fine, but it's like, why is it that some of the defense contractors and the other tech contractors are doing okay, but this company, which is right in the middle of that sweet spot, it's not like they're just, just selling random stuff. I mean, this is pretty high-tech stuff.
It is, but maybe the concentration of like those defense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know the answer to this, and I think it caught investors off guard as well, and that's why shares fell so much today. Finally, I do want to end with Salesforce. Carol talked about Informatica shares rising. As soon as we reported that news on the potential acquisition, we did see shares of Salesforce fall today. Fell at the end of the day by 3.6%.
All right, taking a look at the bond market. Today wasn't that interesting, but it's really over the week that we got some real action. So the long end flat on the day. We were selling off a little bit earlier when equities were also trading. We were buying a little bit. Yields were actually lower when equities were selling off, but we reversed that. But the week, quite interesting. 30-year at one point hit the highest since 2007 and breached the cycle high of 5.17%, but then fell back from that. You also saw the 530 curve, the steepest since 2021. So clearly the stressors are going to be felt in that back end.
All right, guys, it's the official start to summer, right? Memorial Day weekend.
Sure.
And it's
like 40 degrees, but whatever.
All right. Put a sweater on. Hey, but it's also the official start to kind of the summer blockbusters, and the Mission Impossible series has got a new movie coming out. It's already out and hitting theaters today.
Have you seen this, Alex?
No, I literally bought my tickets while you guys were doing winners and losers.
Well, apparently there's a line in the movie about...
She's actually not lying.
I'm literally not lying.
Rude.
All right. So there's a line in the movie about giving, I guess, Tom Cruise, his character, an aircraft carrier. And it turns out the U.S. Navy and Air Force Special Operations actually gave him an aircraft carrier and the team to actually film on.
Nothing new when it comes to sort of the marriage between Hollywood or the government's support of Hollywood. The Pentagon has a long history of being a supporting character. Famously, the Hunt for Red October going back to 1990.
Yes. Great movie.
Top Gun.
That was a huge one.
Top Gun 2, which is, the Return of Maverick.
I think it's the 31st anniversary of Top Gun this month, by the way.
Really?
I believe, yeah.
Feeling
I get my
old.
math right.
Yeah, I know. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really? Wait, what?
Really?
Wow, that didn't
Okay.
do anything.
All right.
Little
That landed not so well.
What was that promoting?
Wait, the Pentagon, the U.S. military played a role in...
I mean, there were ships
No, I
involved,
thought we were
right?
talking
I
about.
don't know.
I thought we were talking about Memorial Day movies.
Oh,
Okay.
No, you're too busy
Dad.
buying your tickets. You got to pay attention.
I was.
So
That was
are we all
earlier.
going to go see Mission Impossible? Who saw it? You saw it, Scarlett?
I saw the first.
I saw part one, but half
Yeah.
of part one, up until the point where they start explaining things. Then I lost interest.
Mission Impossible?
This actually tracks for me. For
Okay, what
Scarlet.
about like parts, the other parts?
Oh, no. Part one of the latest version, Dead Reckoning. This is part two of Dead
Clearly,
Reckoning.
Romaine has not seen it.
He doesn't
Oh,
know
I don't
what
know
we're
what's-
talking
I have
I've
no
seen it
idea
a
what's
million
going on.
times.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry,
I'm going to
did I
go see it
derail this
tomorrow.
conversation?
Tomorrow at 3. You definitely did. Tomorrow at 3 and things.
Anybody
And
else
maybe
go
the
to the
Little
movie?
Mermaid.
But which part? Is it part one or part two?
Part 2.
This is part
This
two.
is
This
the
is part
end.
two.
This
Yes.
is the for real final
But I haven't
reckoning.
seen part one.
Then you can't go.
All right, this
You know
is like
what?
who's on first.
Ethan
Yeah,
Hunt will save the day.
We're never
for me.
going to get
Sorry,
out of
spoiler
this.
alert.
All right, good
Yeah,
luck
we
at
don't
the
know if that's
movies,
true.
Alex. Tell
Feel
us.
left out.
She can report back on Monday. All right, guys, have a good and
Go see
safe
Lilo and
weekend.
Stitch Part 6.
Have a good and safe
What
cold
happened to,
weekend.
All
right, you're
Leonard
done.
Part
You're so done.
1
You're so
through 5?
done. That's a wrap. Our cross-platform radio, TV, YouTube, Bloomberg Originals. We call it the closing
Friday.
bell. Alex is heading out to the movies or somewhere else. And of course, Romaine and Scarlet finishing up on TV. Tim and I right here on Bloomberg Business Week Daily. Guys, see you on Monday. Tuesday.